Welcome back to the Ed Show. Today, because Republicans won't do anything about jobs, President Obama issued executive orders to boost private business growth. The orders shorten federal wait times on business projects and create new online resources for companies. It makes sense for the president to do this. Americans are demanding some action, any action on jobs. But the Speaker of the House went on far right-wing radio and implied the president may be violating the law by trying to help American businesses.
This idea that you're just going to go around the Congress it's almost laughable. And so we're keeping a very close eye on the administration to make sure that they are following the law and following the Constitution.
Speaker Boehner, instead of keeping an eye on the president, how about keeping an eye on the millions of people out of work in this country? Why don't you go to Newton, Iowa, and ask them what the hell's going on? They need help, and your party is standing in the way at every turn. If the president does something to help the country, it's bad for Republicans. Here's what their obstruction leads to. The state of Michigan is facing thousands of layoffs in the public school system. Under President Obama's plan, Michigan would have received $945 million to support nearly 12,000 education jobs. But as you know by now, Republicans killed this portion of the bill last week. With millions out of work, Republicans will add to the ranks of the unemployed because it helps them politically. This is why Americans are in the streets. Joining me now is the mayor of Lansing, Michigan, Verge Bernero, on a number of different subjects. Mayor, good to have you with us tonight. I appreciate your time. I want to talk about first the people that are in the street across this country. This seems to be a real issue with mayors now on how to handle it. Do you have a philosophy? Do you have a working plan if these protests continue to get bigger in your city?
Well, let me say I welcome Democratic participation, both big D and little d, Democratic participation. It's what we do. We're the town square. Lansing is the capital of Michigan. We're right across the street from the state capitol. These protests are not new to us. We're used to hosting protests and to helping out the state police in terms of keeping order, and we'll do that. But we've reached out to these protesters. We've said we want to work with you. They're occupying a park in the city of Lansing, and instead of spending money on massive police and shields and helmets, we put a couple porta potties down there. We help them get a special permit to use the park legally, and we're accommodating it. You know, there's nobody down in the park anyway. It's getting chilly. They've set up some tents, which we usually don't allow overnight parking, but we've given them a special permit. Look, this is America. I mean, maybe in communist China or in Russia, Soviet Russia, kind of still Soviet there, maybe you use batons and stuff, but we're trying to accommodate public protests. And it happens, of course, I agree with them. You know how I feel about Wall Street. But look, this is part of being in the town square. This is the state capitol. This is City Hall. They have a right to protest, and we want them to be heard.
Everything is so connected. I mean, these folks across America are out in the street because they're seeing firefighters and teachers and people being laid off. This is all part of the problem. It all connects. So is Lansing at risk of teacher and first responders being let go?
Oh, no question. No question. I had to lay off 36 police officers and 11 firefighters and close 3 fire stations. I didn't want to do that. This is happening all across the state. There's no question. We're in dire straits. People are hurting in every walk of life.
So what would the jobs bill have done for Michigan?
Well, it would be certainly a shot in the arm. It would certainly help us out. It would be a big help. Any help at this time would be appreciated. Instead, we're getting nothing. So we appreciate the president's efforts. People are hurting all over. And I think that's why, Ed, that this movement is taking off. That's why I think this movement does have legs. There used to be a compact in this country. You know, my dad came here from Italy, the American dream. And we knew that look, not everybody was going to get rich. But if you worked hard and you did the right things and you were responsible and you took care of your family, you could have a decent life in this country. It was almost a guarantee that if you worked darn hard, you worked your butt off, you would be rewarded. But Wall Street has taken that away, and that's what people are upset about. And I don't care if you're a business person or a worker, Main Street and Wall Street are different. Wall Street doesn't give a damn about Main Street. Whether you're a business person or a worker, they don't care. They've outsourced the jobs, they've offshored the American dream, and something's got to give. That's what these people are saying.
And national polls, Verge, are showing that the president has the public support for his jobs policy. So how do you think the Republicans expect to win states like Michigan if they oppose stuff that he puts on the table?
I don't know how you beat something with nothing. The president has something. He saved the auto industry. Without him, we wouldn't have that. At least here in Michigan, we've got GM, Chrysler, and Ford going strong. And GM and Chrysler might very well not have been around if not for the president's action. Now he's offering more action, which we vitally need. As you mentioned, our public services, our roads are crumbling, our bridges, our schools. The president offers help for that. The Republicans offer nothing.
Yeah. And do you think some Democrats have suggested, the president should just forget working with these jokers and ignore them and turn to the campaign completely?
Well,
what do you think?
It's a tough call, but he has a job to do as president. Just like I have a job as mayor, I can't just walk away from the city council if I disagree with them. I don't believe he can afford to simply walk away. He has to continue to try to work with them, continue to try to engage them. At the same time, he's the great communicator. He is the chief communicator, and he's got to go out and use the bully pulpit. Hopefully, Americans will help to put pressure on this do-nothing Congress to get them into action and get them to do something to stimulate the economy in a real way and create real jobs and stop our jobs from going overseas. How about we incentivize companies, Ed, to invest here? You talk about
we tried to do that, and the Republicans were against it.
Well, there you go.
I mean, there are some people in Washington. I mean, the total Congress isn't broken. You bring up a good point, but the Democrats tried to get the Republicans to do that, and they were against that too. Ferg, it's good to see you fired up on a Friday night. You have a great weekend.
Always
and keep
a pleasure.
working, my friend.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you.